Welcome back. You're still watching DayBreak on this 20th day of April 2025. I'm here with Geoffrey Wandeto, Nelson Koech, Anthony Kibagende, and Jen Kagiri. And before we took the break, we were talking about the statement by President Uhuru Kenyatta, former, and the reactions that have come from members of the Kenya Kwanza administration, including CS Kipchumba Murkomen, who accuses the former president of insincerity, saying that the challenges the country faces can easily be traced to the regime of Uhuru Kenyatta, even saying that the footsteps at State House are still there. You can actually find them before he left. Azija Kauka, I'm told. Mheshimiwa Koech, you also took issue with the former president on what he said towards the Gen Z demonstrations last year. Why?
I'm saying that some of his statements were very insincere. It's not that to say that President Uhuru Kenyatta cannot speak. And I'm perfectly in agreement that he can speak whatever he wants to speak. But as a former head of state, I said, let us use the time that he was in office. Let us evaluate the time that he was in office and see if what he's speaking now, did he walk the talk? That is my point. And in my view, and you know it just like I do, that President Kenyatta never supported William Ruto. And he will wish that William Ruto fails. In fact, when we came in, there was a talk in town that, you know, our government was not going to last more than 6 months. Now that things seem to be looking up, and let me use what
Who said that? Who said the government will not survive?
There was talk that, whispers that Uhuru Kenyatta actually had told most of his guys, Kina Matiang'i, that, you know, this government won't last more than 6 months. It has lasted. And I want to look at it this way, Sam.
Now? Because
I want to look at it this way.
There's no owner of the rumor.
Yeah, I don't want to lose my point. Let me say this.
Yeah.
If you want to look at this administration, you know, let us not only evaluate it on the statements that are made, populist statements that are made outside there. Just last week, we overtook Ethiopia as a strong economy in the region. You look at how we have been able to deal with our debt burden. Have we failed in our debt repayments? It is part of what was discussed even in China. IMF and World Bank are looking into what we are doing as a country, and they're extremely happy on where we are. And there are so many things that we use to evaluate an economy. It is not necessarily
what do you mean
that
when you say that we overtook Ethiopia?
In terms of GDP to our debt ratio, of course, we've overtaken Ethiopia.
So what is the GDP to debt ratio? What is that? GDP to debt ratio?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like our economy, as compared to Ethiopia, as was ranked by IMF last week, Kenya has overtaken Ethiopia in terms of
what are the figures
of ranking. I'm not sure about the particular figures, but that is what came out of our IMF meeting last week.
Please find that so that
now,
we
I will do it in the course of our break, and you should also do it to counter-check. Those are some of the things that we must look at, Sam. The noises that you hear here are people who are generally unhappy. No country in the world will want to partner with you if you're a failing country, if you're a failing economy. But Kenya has stamped its authority from foreign direct investments that are coming into the country, and even World Bank and IMF continuing to finance our country tells you that our books are looking good. When I was in China, I sat inside the table where the discussions of financing some of our projects were. And you can tell the excitement of these countries wanting to invest in Kenya. That is how we look at the country.
Okay. All right. I was just asking the question because...
So I was telling you that the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta, for me, is a personal issue. It is not that he's speaking for the country. It is not that he's speaking to the young people of this country. He is actually very concerned in making sure that the young people of this country are incited. That is my view. All
right. Never mind that you're speaking to a group of young people from the East African region under the group Guild Leaders. I want us to transition, but Mheshimiwa Kibagende, I don't know if you have any comments about what Mheshimiwa Koech has been saying, because when I look at the statement of Uhuru Kenyatta on the 25th of June, the night of the killings of Gen Z protesters outside Parliament, he said that as your former president, I have felt the weight and the difficulty of leading Kenya. I therefore pray for wisdom and civility to be established and for peace and progress to belong to all of us as children of Kenya. He also said, dear Kenyans, I stand with you and I ask our leadership to embrace dialogue and speak to the people and not other people. I mean, how do we separate politics from what is right for the Kenyan people?
You know, we have a regime that has depleted creativity. That is why the likes of Honorable Koech are still stuck in what we call blame game. They continually blame either the former regime, empty coffers, and then later the opposition is strangling our development agenda when we were saying no to the taxes they were increasing and housing levy 2023. Later they started complaining about the judiciary, and then later it is the Gen Zs and the people that were sponsoring them. But there's something important I wanted to mention here. When we have the biggest economy in East and Central Africa, my brother Nelson Koech, that does not translate to an improved quality of life for the people of this country. It is embarrassing to speak up with the excitement that we are becoming the biggest economy in the region, yet really our education is in tatters. Our healthcare system is in tatters. We inherited
this education system.
No. While we inherited it, we should have done better. We are regressing. We are regressing.
CBC,
we had NHIF that was functional. Yes, there was some bit of fraud. Now, the fraud is even more. And we have no services. My brother Sam, let me read for you something. Just a sentence, a paragraph. The president of Vietnam Gas and Energy, the president of Vietnam Gas and Energy met, listen to what he said. Why Africa waits while Asia builds? A hard look at Kenya. He said this: I met with the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and President William Ruto in Nairobi. They spoke with energy about Kenya's future, investment, infrastructure, public housing. But behind the polished language was a painful truth. There is no serious execution culture. Kenya's real problem is not lack of money or talent. It's the absence of long-term vision and dominance of short-term gain. Short-term gain is the greatest challenge we have in this country, where Honorable Koech and the cartels around State House, the president, and in the ministries want to quickly become wealthy, quickly have enough money to manipulate people. And the money they have made through corrupt deals and taking advantage of even stealing our taxes is what they hope to use to manipulate. Deals? Corrupt deals. The SHA system is a corrupt deal.
The housing. You're in the health committee.
I fought it, and Gituku knows.
And he passed it, and he signed it.
I didn't sign.
He did sign it.
He did sign the report. I didn't sign the report. I didn't sign the report.
What report?
The SHA.
Endorsing SHA before it came for debate on the floor of the House. Even here on TV, did sign.
I have even here on TV, I have been consistent about SHA, the system, and even the schemes. Last week, the CS signed that they should start paying for the 10.4 billion shillings a year. I can tell you, I have been very consistent. The housing scheme, it is all corruption. We are enhancing other people's businesses while destroying others. There are no opportunities for people.
Mheshimiwa Kibagendi,
yes.
You sit in parliament.
Yes, I do.
Over 50 million Kenyans don't.
Yes.
What are they supposed to do?
And that is why I oversight and speak out. I represent. By doing what I'm doing, this is representation. Even in Parliament, I was consistent. What we need in this is change, because Parliament has been taken captive. It has become an appendage of the executive that is pushing their individual short-term gain. The deals, anything you saw in China, these things they are pushing. Okay. It is to push for infrastructure development where they have a hand.
So,
that is what they're pushing for.
Allow me to respond to Vietnam.
Not that you're only...
Vietnam, the issue that
he is going to rubbish.
I'm not rubbishing.
I want to distinguished individual.
Just hold it, because I want us to transition to the next conversation, which is about...
No, then we will lose the Vietnam issue. You know,
it's very related.
No, the Vietnam boss, I just want to give you statistics. Allow me, Kibagendi.
You don't have to respond to that.
In 2000, okay?
It is just clear.
Just allow me. In 2000, okay, and this is, I'm talking about Vietnam. In 2000, at that time, Vietnam, with a population of 77 million, okay? Just like what it is now in Kenya, they had 3.3 supply gigawatts of power. When we are a population of 50, when they were 77, they were where we are now as a country, 77 million. That is in the year 2000. And you can check that.
And now? That is now what some disturbed.
Right now, in fact, they agreed they're importing most of their power from China.
Sorry, I want to hear from Mheshimiwa Koech because he's making a point that we need to understand.
There's nothing here to understand.
You're saying the power production, the power production of Vietnam was 3.3 gigawatts.
Yeah.
Gigawatt hours.
Yes.
In 2000.
The year 2000. With a population of 77 million people.
What was it for Kenya in the year 2000?
Right now, Kenya is at 3.3 with a population of 50.
Where were we?
Yeah.
What was the production for Kenya?
Where, in the year 2000?
Yes.
No, I'm just comparing the population. When they were at 77, and right now when we are 50, we are doing what they were doing when they had a population of 77.
I don't know the place of population and power production.
Yeah.
Also, you're talking about the year 2000. Because there must be, and what is it now for Vietnam? How many gigawatt hours?
830.
830 gigawatt hours.
Yeah. Which is importing. They're importing from Laos, 730 megawatts, and from China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
what is the point?
I'm just trying to show you where they were as a country also, just the way it's establishing the country.
In some work.
Yeah. There are challenges that we all experience as a country, but you should not also, this is a dictator country, first of all, a one-party state.
You know, Mheshimiwa Koech.
Vietnam.
Mheshimiwa Koech, you're saying very interesting things.
Yeah.
So did you find how Ethiopia has overtaken Kenya?
Yes. Kenya overtaking. Yes, it was last week in Daily Business and even in IMF report that Kenya is expected to dethrone Ethiopia as the region's largest economy after Addis Ababa devalued its currency birr. And that is IMF rating,
so what are the
IMF evaluation last week on 25th. This is the daily
What's the significance
of 25th.
What are the figures?
It means that we have been able to hold our currency against the dollar and sustained it.
Now, I'm asking that because the GDP of Ethiopia, the figures as of 2023 was 128,
no, 131. That is 17.04 trillion.
Let me read what I have. For Kenya, it was 108 billion US dollars, 2023. For Ethiopia, it was 163.7 billion US dollars, 2023.
Kenya's GDP is expected to grow and it will expand to $131.673 billion, okay, by the end of this year.
Yes, that is.
That of Ethiopia has sunk to $117 billion. That is 15.2 trillion.
That's according to the IMF?
Yes.
Okay.
Reflecting a weakening of Addis Ababa.
We will check that, but